Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 272, and today we're doing battle with Akshan Renekton. And so, for my daily followers, I'm a little confused, you probably are too. I was expecting there to be a patch notes today, and then an upcoming patch tomorrow. We typically get these balance patches in the time before the Last Chance Gauntlet and before seasonals, and then the Blood Woven event should end tomorrow, today for you. And so there's usually a patch that falls then. And so I don't know if they're still intending on releasing a patch, and they didn't posted notes on it because they got delayed with the Martin Luther King Day holiday, or if there's just going to be no patch, whatever. No reason for me to speculate. I'm just going to have to wait and see. But in the front of news, the thing I did want to kind of call out was there's a neat tweet from Steve Rubin, old Ruben Zoo over at Riot. He did note that directly after the patch 4.1, that'll be the next patch to come out, they'll be launching a beta for tournament seasons, and it looks to be their kind of replacement for this seasonal structure, this play ladder to qualify in for the big tournament at the end of the season. Not going to speculate on what's coming with that either, but I'm pretty excited for it. They mentioned last year with the new production designer, production lead, whatever Dave Guskin, whatever his title is, that they're going to be making a move towards more competitive stuff. And with this, tweet from Steve Rubin, you can definitely see these things moving forward. And so you see a lot of the same sentiments from old Dave and old Steve here in terms of the move to competitive. And I think it's kind of a pretty exciting place to be, exciting times that we live in. And so, back to the deck. Again, we're going to be playing Akshan Renekton, and it's kind of interesting to me. So it's like, as we look at this meta, there's kind of two things that I wanted to talk about. First, there's just a ton of width, whether or not that's from the control decks like Darkness or Nora. There's tons of those running around. They just flood the boards with shitty units, and you have to be able to overwhelm or rally through them. Even moving beyond that, the Leona decks that we've been playing over these past few days, very keen on completely filling out the board, but even looking towards the aggro decks, with something like Jinx Lulu being the most popular aggro deck right now, that's a deck that very easily floods and completely fills out the board as well. And so if you ever want to deal damage against these strategies, you either have to have Overwhelm, so you attack and you deal damage through their 1 health unit, or you have Rallies, to where you attack, you kill off all their small units, and then you get to attack a second time while your units still survive. And so you've typically seen this style of strategy here recently in the Leona decks, right? Those all have rallies or overwhelms to a degree, but more recently, the big one to kind of splash on the meta was the likes of Bone Club Darius. Now that deck has kind of fallen out of favor a little bit. It kind of, once people kind of figured out what was happening with it, and they got a little bit better with their reactiveness to the big overwhelms, that one, slipped out a little bit. But I'm always curious to look towards the Shuriman overwhelms. Everyone always looks towards Noxus and looks towards Freylord, but it's very easy to pass up on the likes of Ruin Runner. And I think Ruin Runner is always a spectacular card to take in consideration as you play against decks like Darkness, and them required to have 2 spells to take it down is a very big deal. But even in this world of Leona, being able to soak up a Leona stun through a Ruin Runner spell shield just gets you well, it doesn't get you anything, I should say. It takes away that big tempo swing from your opponent and doesn't leave you in these spaces to where you have to open attack every single turn, or you risk your opponent getting a stun or getting a double stun with the bird, or even just the Leona plus the barrier is quite a bit. And so the Ruin Runner, it's hopefully going to be here to do quite a bit of work, and it allows us to play towards those removal decks a little bit better. And so in the past, you have seen these kind of Akshan Renekton Ruin Runner decks pairing off with Bandle City to get access to the Double Dragon, whatever that guy's called, Papercraft Dragon. There we go. But I feel like that is a little bit too all in at this point, and we do get a lot of juicy units and juicy cards out of Freylord. And so what you used to not be able to see things out of the likes of the Renekton decks were cards like Spirits Unleashed. Another card that plays fantastically towards this overall strategy that we're looking to pull off, of picking off the opposing small plays. And so if an opponent has a board full of 1/1s and we can clear them all out with the Spirits Unleashed, a very fantastic way to then attack through their empty board, or at the very least giving all of our units +1/+1 makes them a little bit more resilient in the face of damage-based removal, and then also crunching in a little bit of extra damage through those overwhelm-based attacks. And so, otherwise, the Freylord package looks pretty familiar. We have the Spirits Unleashed, Battle Fury up at the top, Bone Club for a bit of reusable stats, but also a great item to equip over to the Merciless Hunter, and then the fairly standard Overwhelms package at this point of the double 2-drops in the Ruthless Raider and the Tusk Speaker, along with the Ancient Yeti up top. The last things to kind of talk about here, we have a small collection of vulnerable in here. We are playing Renekton, only 2 copies, but we're playing Renekton, and Akshan also really loves having access to a vulnerable for a quick attack challenge, and so we have 1 Exhaust, 1 Shuriman Telstones, and 2 Merciless Hunters to give us access to the vulnerables we need to kind of get a little bit of bonuses out of our bros there. Last but not least, we have the Troll Chance. Fantastic combat trick in this meta full of board width. Very easy to pull off 2-for-1s with this one. All of our units tend to be bigger than the opposing units, so it doesn't feel that bad that we can't get plus attack with it. And then we have a single copy of Rite of Negation to hopefully counter off our opponent's big spells like Feel the Rush, or more likely just something like Vengeance. And so, that's the deck. That's what we're doing battle with today. Let's go ahead and jump on in. See if we can't make our way through the dregs of platinum. Get up here to Masters on this account before you know it. Definitely hit Masters on this account before the season's done, but this is what it is. Got a kitty up here as well. That's what everybody wants to see. It's the only reason people come here. Say, what up, Pepper? Thank you for getting your very happy face onto the YouTube screen. Can't wait. She's got to start meowing. All right, though. The battles begin up against Talia Ziggs. The classics, if you will. The classic battles. I'm just going to go ahead and mulligan everything away. I really want to be finding some early game presence here, whether or not it's our any of our 1s or our 2s. We have 5 separate ones in here between the Bakai and the Omen Hawk at 1, the various Overwhelms, and then Akshan. I don't want to run out of this early game without finding one of our friends here. Now that we're up against Talia Ziggs, they don't have tons of early game targets for a Troll Chant, and so I think I'm just going to go for the size here with the Darkened Bloodletters. It is very common for them to either play their own Bakai or play a 2-1, whatever that the guy that makes the landmark. So I figure we're going to have to trade. If we had gone for the Troll Chant, then I wouldn't have attacked here. I'd have just held back, stayed onto the Troll Chant, and looked to use it to get a 2-for-1 on a later turn. But since we didn't take it, since we went with the Bloodletters, I'm looking to be just a little bit more aggressive here. Now, here, I think we're okay to pass. I'd prefer him to attack me first. We can play the Ruthless Raider after the fact. Now we can hopefully trade in a little bit of Overwhelm damage. All right. Renekton coming to the party as well. Definitely getting the big Overwhelm bros out here. See if he drops in a Ziggs. That would be the... it's not a complete disaster if Ziggs comes in, but he does shut down our attack with Akshan. Getting blown up with the spell is fine, though. There's Inventive Chemist, the guy, we couldn't remember his name. The guy that does the stuff and makes the things in the early game. You know who I'm talking about. It's Inventive Chemist. Alright, though. See what happens here. Taking quite a bit of damage from this. Pokey stick, okay. Have to worry a little bit about getting absolved on a future turn here, but as it stands, our Overwhelms are about to hit. Ancient Yeti should be very tough for the opposing deck to deal with, and it's also pretty tough for him to have enough stats to handle a Renekton. Merciless Hunter turns up now to make things a little bit more challenging. Let's lead in with the Tusk Speaker. I'd like to see if he adds in a high-value unit. If he puts something pretty big in, well, we can go ahead and drop the Merciless Hunter, but I'd probably prefer just to have the Ancient Yeti on the board. It's like if we add in Merciless Hunter and then he has Quicksand, and he's able to Quicksand Renekton to prevent the Overwhelm and put the Inventive Chemist in front of our Merciless Hunter, I'm just not super happy about that sequence. And so Let's just get our stats on board, get our attacks happening, see what we can do. Oh my gosh, this cat, she set herself up in this position to where she's just digging her claw into my leg. She just stopped. She's not doing like the little like tap things that cats do. She's just jamming it right in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, kitty. It's very, very kind of you. So how are we going to close this one down? It's a little scary coming into the next turn. If we like don't open attack, an opponent gets to play the 2/4 thing that blows up a landmark, and then they just have like 4 units on the board. We're never winning the game from that point. And so I feel reasonably safe here. I'm going to go ahead and load up Renekton with an equipment. So if he plays some kind of removal spell, that we can at least have another dude on board. And then we're going to look to just crash in with everybody. Again, we don't want any of these landmarks hitting. If one of these landmarks lands, we're just going to die. Exhaust, kind of an interesting pickup. I think we have to do it. It's like a quicksand isn't super ideal here, but I'm not quite willing to just put the unit in front of our Merciless Hunter. Ugh. Well, that's not a burst. Maybe we're okay. Signpost. The fuck's that do? Oh, we destroyed our equipment. Okay. It's like I just completely bamboozled by the signpost hitting our Renekton. I was like, what the hell? I did not know that that was a possibility, but we had the stats to carry through. GG, my friends. Next battle. Get this cat out of here. Probably fucking bleeding right now. These other opponents don't have it as hard as I do, and so we're always out here playing with disadvantages. All these damn cats. I'll tell you about a disadvantage. I just got boomed. I got boomed real hard. I don't print very much stuff. It's like it's 2023. Who fucking uses a printer? Well, I'll tell you who, my wife. And so we had to get a printer because she likes to print things. And I got really tired of, you go and you pay $60 for some shitty printer, and you print like your 5 pages that you need to print, and then you don't use it for 8 months, and then the print cartridges are all dead. And so then you have to decide if you either want to pay $50 for new cartridges or $60 for a new printer just so that you can print 4 pages. It all sucks. It's all stupid. And so I bought one of the expensive ones that doesn't use the ink cartridges. It uses, I don't know, fucking laser beams or whatever it does. It has a toner cartridge instead of an ink cartridge that's not supposed to go bad. And so like we went through one. That was fine. Great. Good job. But like once that one ran out, instead of buying the officially licensed product that you're supposed to get from the manufacturer, we bought the off-brand stuff on Amazon, and it has those microchips on it, and it worked. It worked for a while, and then the microchip eventually said, "LOL, I know the shenanigans that you're up to, and we're not going to allow it." And so I've had to buy new cartridges now, and they're fucking expensive. So that's been my struggle here for the past day or so, was making my way through getting new print cartridges. Life's hard, man. I don't know how we even make it through day to day. all these tough struggles that Bust is going through. All right, I was not expecting just a physical back alley barkeep to come down and hit the board. I like what you're about here, dropping in the victors from El Yumi. I got to assume at this point he's probably got a he's probably got a Pursuit of Perfection in this deck, which I also highly approve of. Let's see what we can do. It's a tough decision on where to put the Overwhelmed thing. It's like if we attack and he wants to block the Merciless Hunter, he has to do it with the back alley barkeep. And so I put it on a Tusk Speaker since I think we should be able to get in a little bit more damage this way. To where if we put it on the Merciless Hunter, it's just going to run into the barkeep and get wasted. Now this is the spaces to where I'm a little concerned in what we're doing, in that we probably should have hooked the unit with our lower value unit, so if he did have a removal spell, we'd get the extra point of damage in. But we didn't take that route. Okay. Lots of bad removal spells coming in. Not a big deal. Let's just pass. He's going to attack first. Let's see if he drops a Victor or something before we have to make a play. What is this one? Create and hand a 2-cost spell. Give it fleeting. Okay. We'll have to deal with you next turn, I guess. I'm just going to bring in the Tusk Speaker. We'll play the Ruin Runner next turn, and we'll also Shuriman Tellstones and blast into one of these smaller units, but I don't want to play the Ruin Runner this turn while he's getting that free spell in his hand. He's just going to vary. Like, if it's just something that, say, does 1 point of damage, then you're probably just going to throw it in front of the Ruin Runner. It's a little awkward. So you gotta stop and check all this mana. I didn't stop and calculate that it would be up to 9. We could potentially just Battle Fury this round, right? If we Battle Fury equipment, that's 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. Looks like it's going to be a little bit short of lethal. Just a little bit short. Yeah, let's spread this stuff out a little bit, but then we're gonna course correct a little bit, and so let's Ruthless Predator. We're gonna Ruthless Predator our Ruin Runner. Ruin Runner's gonna hook in onto the Acorn. Get him. Then we'll hook the other Acorn with our bad one. Try and punch in for the 4 damage with this Tusk Speaker out to the end. Oh, snap. So close to a lethal. Missed call onto Acorn. I dig it. I dig it. Are we going to get Pursuit of Perfection here? I'm curious how many spells he's played up to this point. Lots of good stuff here if we're not just dead. You know? As long as you're not just dead, things are okay. Interesting. He picks up the Ruin Runner, but then doesn't play it. Okay. Well, we should be good. We should be able to Battle Fury through something here. We have plenty of attackers. It's tough to have an answer to all of these, so as long as we have, one guy unblocked, or even if he is blocked, we can still potentially get a big Battle Fury in. Okay. Does he have less gems than us? No, that'll just go away. That's not a permanent -4, is it? Didn't think so. That's kind of an interesting mechanic that Riot never fleshed out. If you have less mana gems than your opponent, I was expecting more of that mechanic to come around, and then it never did. See ya. But that's kind of an interesting thing to balance, and using your mana gems as a resource. It's not something that's really been added into the game yet. I'm sure it'll happen at some point, right? You have the ramp is interesting in this game, given that you're capped at 10 crystals. So if you ramp 3 times and you don't win the game in short order, then your opponent gets to 10. You're on same footing at like 10 crystals to 10 crystals. But there's always that space to lose a crystal, and we see it with the Rite of Negation mainly, and the other rites don't really see play since Rite of Calling got nerfed to 1 mana, but kind of an interesting concept, especially then when you tie in cards like Unworthy, to where if you have less crystals than your opponent, then you kill the unit. Just not quite enough of that. Effect around. That'd be kind of interesting if this game had sideboards in it, right? Like you have with Magic, and if you're playing in a tournament, you get a sideboard, and you have your tech against ramp as the Unworthies, so your opponent ramps up a little bit, and then they drop their Trundle, and you say, like, LOL, kill this Trundle for 2 mana, or whatever that spell costs. It's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. All right, though. Let's see what we can do. What are we up against? Oh, Rise. It's like I'm tempted to not even play Exhaust because the units in this deck tend to be so bad. It's probably unrealistic to not hang on to it. We'll probably want to try and take down something in the early game, just pick and choose a good combat. But it's I see decks like Rise, and I'm just like, you're not playing any dudes. You're not putting anything useful on the board. Like, I don't think we have to worry about that too much. Now, the thing I should have said in the previous game and what I would like to mention in this one is I'm not certain how good I feel Akshan is at this point, right? There's just an absolute metric ton of quietus running around, at least up in the Masters scene. And that's one of the things that does actually worry me about this deck. I was kind of considering assembling this deck as just playing no champions, kind of like how you see a little bit with the Darius decks, in that you might see like 3 Bone Club, 2 Darius. Sometimes you just don't see any Darius whatsoever. I was kind of half considering just playing like maybe a couple Renekton and 0 actions because the quietus is so relevant these days. But if they don't have quietus, then Akshan is just such a madman. He's so strong. All right, well, I'm gonna give up on the need to find an exhaust target for this turn. It's tough for opponent to do with just 2 mana. Looked like he picked up the Rune Prison's, probably going to stun our action. That's completely fine. And then I put the Ruin Runner on top of our deck. That gives us a really powerful Overwhelm unit against a deck that has removal spells, but they have to spend a bunch of removals on our Ruin Runner. Go us. Gonna make us override our friend Omenhawk down here. That's the sad thing. Oh, Rise. I still haven't made a video with Rise. I played maybe like 5 games with him, and I was just like, this isn't for me. You know, I'm not I'm not doing this. I'm not having any fun. This can just fuck right off. And so, if you're wanting to see me play Rise, maybe in the future, maybe if he catches a buff or something, so he's not in his current state, or if I don't know the different burst spells get printed, then we may play Rise. But I have no intention of playing these shards or using them in that fashion whatsoever. All right, we'll overwrite the Omen Hawk. Probably should have just overwritten the Warlord's Palace. I don't really see us flipping the Palace this game, but our board is so powerful. We have the exhaust to pick the perfect combat. Just a little hesitant in case the game extended a little bit. Like if we try to get involved in this combat, he has, like Vile Feast, and another card or something. It can be tough. It's like he's leaning the knock him down on our test speaker, but we still have, what is this, 9, 11, 11 plus 4, 15 damage on board. Gonna need a little bit more than that. I guess he's got Rune Prison in hand. Can't Rune Prison our Ruin Runner, though. Gotta hit the Ruthless Raider. Oh, look at that, man. We should have been lethaling right here, right? If we had that 1 point from the Omen Hawk, then we would have taken him to the 0 instead of 1. Tough times, man. Tough times. There's the lethal. That's what it was for, man. That's what it was for. Just stall into the Spirits Unleashed. Wrecked. That's the way victories are meant to be achieved. Go and burn mode with the Spirits Unleashed. GG, my dude. GG.
To a world without villains.
All right, next battle. You all remember playing the Ancient Armory versions of this stuff? They were all garbage. FYI, little note to the Nugget. Drawing a card on turn 7 that doesn't do anything for 2 more turns? Not good. Tried it though. It didn't pan out. Alright, here comes the battle of the equipments. Ornn. This is like all the champions today that I've never played. Going up against Rise, never play. Ornn, never play. He's garbage. Master Yi, never play. Let's just get them all out here, you know? And so here, I did hang on to the exhaust. I don't know how scared of Master Yi we actually are. I don't think it's like super scary. Just, you know, a little scary, not big scary. But with all of our 3 attack 2-drops like the Tusk Speaker and the other guy, whatever his name is, the Ruthless Raider, I wanted to be able to take these units down if we can. So if we could do an exhaust onto Master Yi when I have 3 attack to be able to take him down, we could do it this way if we hang on to the exhaust. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and trade away Akshan. He's not doing a whole lot. We already got the landmark ability, and we have the second one in our hand. Now, if we were playing a more standard Akshan deck where we're playing like 3 Darkened Bloodletters and 3 like 1-cost targeters, and then we're playing a you know, just this like collection of targets for Akshan, that's fine. We're not playing like a real target heavy version of Akshan here, and so I didn't really feel the need to go for it. Now, getting fairly punished by this Master Yi by going for the Akshan value. We can recover a little bit on the upcoming turn just playing the Spirits Unleashed, but you know, as we came out and talked about making that big play with the exhaust and then running into this spot, a little bit awkward. Hopefully he doesn't have a deny here. Okay. Give us a chance to come back. Probably just gonna block with Akshan again. So get used to it, bro. You're not long for this world. We drew the 3rd copy, so I don't feel too terrible about it. He should be able to have the Warlord's Palace finish its countdown and then come down and be relevant. Now, the question here is, like, what kind of frostbites are we going to come in and worry about? I would like to get, you know, Renekton down in front of the Master Yi, but like if we run Renekton in and then he's got some kind of flash freeze and we waste our exhaust, it kind of sucks. But we're not going to be super mana efficient this turn anyways, so let's bring in the Renekton. I think I'm okay to exhaust, and then we gotta start winning at some point, right? And so I think this is our way to kind of start winning. That's beautiful. I like seeing that. Another gift for Renekton, bro. 7/6 onto the 4/5. He's only got 5 mana. Pretty much nothing he could do at this space, right? No, I don't have high hopes for this one. I don't think we're going to be super successful. But ideally, he's just not gonna. We're either going to trade or we're just going to bounce. He's not going to have a way to kill our Renekton while his Master Yi survives. And so if he's going like plus attack, I'm fairly okay with it. Looks like he's excited about this other combat trick he's playing. Okay. Interesting. So he meditated for... You just do that to flow? Pick up that Master Yi bonus attack? Okay, I guess. Alright, we just gotta get stats on board now, though. Gotta win on this upcoming attack. I don't feel like... I mean, we might be able to make it through another turn, but it feels like we're just super dead if we don't win on this upcoming turn. So we'll add in Renekton. I'll add in Akshan next turn. I don't want to risk him not flipping. It's a very realistic turn for us to want to either go +1 attack or to load up the Sandstone Charger. See if he just goes LOL, buried in the ice. Like I can't imagine these decks play all of these cards, but you know, there's some definite ways for us to be sad about how this turn goes.
Patience, cautious, and quiet. This is our veil.
So we'll add in the Yeti. We're not going to have the room for the Sandstone Charger, so we can just +1 our team if we want. We have the Merciless Hunter to force a hook with the Renekton to get the extra bonus stats. Now it's just going to be a matter of can we punch in enough damage.
A home, a family.
The first time I am equipped, give me Barrier and Lifesteal. That sounds like it could be nasty. We're not going to lethal this round, right? We're going to be too short. Merciless Hunter just gets blocked by something. We've got, what is this, like 10, 19, like 20, we'll just call it like 23, 24 damage, and he has 8 health to put in front of our dudes. I don't think we're ever winning. So let's throw the Merciless Hunter onto Master Yi. We'll try and take him down in this combat.
Their blood.
The rest of these attacks should be okay. Once we say, okay, you know, we're not going to lethal him this turn, we don't have to worry about putting the Merciless Hunter onto Jun and trying to get away from her ability to get equipped and get the barrier lifesteal and just get a huge swing, like blocking Akshan and getting an 8-point life swing.
What was theirs is now ours.
That's right. Run!
Got 8 attack now, right? Okay. The Oracle's Eye says that we're killing the Master Yi, so hopefully that goes okay. He's got 2 mana left. There's a Troll Chant or something would be a little bit painful, but feel much better taking the Yi down. Look at this, look at this. We got him to 1. This is gonna be just like the last game, wasn't it? We're gonna we're gonna drop the Tusk Speaker for that last point of lethal. Say boomed ya. Zap you real good. Watch this. Oh, he's going for the lifesteal. Not yet, Fam Jam. Oh, is he gonna deny our thing? That's too bad. That's too bad. I think we're still in pretty tip-top shape, but you know, I was hoping for things to go a little better there.
It's vast and blinding.
So if we're gonna drop +5/+5 on something, I don't necessarily want it to go on our biggest unit. If we put it on, say, our tough bro, I think that looks decent. Lets him still come in and block Jun, and then this way, like, what would be ultimately pretty painful is if he has a bounce spell for, like, the Ancient Yeti and then gets to
A clear mind.
make us pay full price on getting it back. The fuck? Master Yi just striking stuff? Strike the weakest enemy. I guess we should have read that card. Should have read that one.
Oh, come now.
So something like this. If he gives Master Yi +2 attack, I still want to survive. So if he goes up to 7, the Ruthless Raider will live. Have to block Jun, though. Otherwise, we're just going to get lethaled. Don't really care about action at this point. So, I mean, he's got 3 cards. This thing loses lifesteal, right? That's just for the round. So I think we want to open. The Ruin Runner's just a little bit too slow. I don't think he's playing stuff like Buried in the Ice, but that's how you end up losing that game. And then if he has something like Harsh Winds, we're not... well, he's at 1. Maybe we could still win there, but you do start to run into problems when you're running there at the slow speed. It says, LOL, it's Mina. Ooh, all right, though. GG. Fun set of games today. I've been enjoying this. These Ruin Runners. Y'all remember when Ruin Runner was a 6-4 and Merciless Hunter was a 4-3? How the times change, man. How the times change. Like, I'm not even worried about Akshan having a 9-mana countdown. Those were the days, having those giant Shuriman bros out there. All right, same dude. Rematch against the old Ornn Master Yi. We achieved victory last time. Let's see if we can do it again. There we go. I found the wave emote. My emotes are all messed up. It's so weird playing on this other account. None of our cards are premium. Can't be dropping cupcakes on people. No laser kitties. It's tough. I'm really surprised we've even been able to win any games.
You're looking at Iomia's cookie chip 10 times running.
We win the battle against the Pot of Pain. That's pretty cool. He says no battles.
For me, the spirit's dance.
Patience, cautious, and quiet.
Okay, that's good. So, I mean, we didn't see anything like Troll Chant in the last game. I'm just going to assume we're not going to see it this game either, so we can go ahead, swing in with everybody, not worry too much. Still want to get Omen Hawk on the board, get those bonus stats up and running. Looks good. The fuck is this? Valid question. Valid question. Just straight up becoming an 8/8, huh? Well, we don't answer that very well. We aren't playing anything like Three Sisters in our deck. It's like I think we gotta just throw stats in front of it. We have like the bone clubs to make a big unit, but like if we just take it and then try to bone club, like I mean I guess the Yeti's bigger than this thing, but it's like if we go all in on the Yeti and then he has a bounce spell, we're just gonna lose. It's tough. All the Yetis turning up. So let's drop this one. I want to see if he spends any mana, right? If he taps down below 4 mana, then we can make some choices. Like if we have the access to Rite of Negations, then I feel much better about loading up the Yeti with the Bone Club. But without it, you know, it's too scary. If we drop an Ancient Yeti and he bounces it with the Bone Club, we just lose the game. But he dropped down to 3, so we know we're safe in that sense. The attack here, I mean, looks decent. How close to lethal do we get? Too far away, right? If we attack with everybody, he blocks the Wild Claw and the Tusk Speaker, the Artisan in front of the Ancient Yeti. We deal 6+1. Not quite worth, but we can send our Yeti in here. That's good. That's good. Even if he has a +2/+2. Yeah. So he loses his giant dude, has to spend some mana. His board sucks now. And then and then we still have our bone clubs to re-equip and everything. It's nice. Spirits Unleashed. Interesting. See how much mana he spends. That's what it comes down to. Again, like, oh my gosh, another one? I guess this guy at least isn't as big this time. That sucks so much. One short of having the spirits within take him down. Sad day. I think that's who we want to play, though. Like, if we play the Spirits Unleashed, we can go into the next turn. We'll have 1 banked up, so we'll have... What is that? 8 mana in total? Can still only play 1 card, but... It's like if we pick up a 1 or a 2-drop, and both of those units are big, then we'll have a little potential for excitement. What a wild set of cards. So many so many surprise Wild Claws. Hey, we picked up a dude, though. That's cool.
Fight or die.
That's what we were looking for. We'll lead with the Raider first if he wants to play something weird and expensive. Gotta keep this Rite of Negation cooked up. So where are we at here? We got 7, 11, 13, facing 5 health. I don't really want to just pass. I want him to have to block our Ancient Yeti. Like, if we get rid of his Overwhelm unit, this is just so much better. Let's send him in. He doesn't have to block, but it doesn't seem great just having a your 7-1 in the face of the 7-7 hanging out.
Too much salt.
Okay. I assume he's going to re-equip his Wild Claw with something and then open. Are we dead to that? Looks like we're probably dead to that. Maybe that attack wasn't as good as we wanted. We probably need to do attack with everything there, right? I think that makes a little more sense. If we attacked with everything, then he would have had to have. No, he wouldn't have had to have blocked everything. He still could have. Maybe. I think that's probably where the better play was. All right, let's see if we're dead. Probably dead. Does this make an Overwhelmer? We're definitely dead now. that 1 point of damage is enough, right?
Scores to settle, cooks to kill. You know how it is.
Let's find out. Ornn summons a new dude, right? But none of them have Overwhelm. Oh, this guy does have Overwhelm. Okay, GG. That would have been tough to recover from either way. Just took too much from the Overwhelms. But GG, well played. On to the next one. That's a skill right there you have to develop. GG, well played. On to the next one. It's tough if you get the level of invested you should be in each game. It's tough to say. Like I don't think that's the right word. I feel like you should be invested in the games to where you're having fun and trying and stuff. But to have a don't give a fuck mindset isn't quite it. That's not quite what I meant. It's just you can't get hung up in the losses and have to quit from that point. All right, though. Up against the Jinx Lulu. This is another one of these decks to where, it's kind of weird in their ability to go really wide on you. But it's not a control deck like a Nora deck. And so the Overwhelms do have a bit of additional power against this thing. We just got to be a little slow in how we approach it. Like, I don't want to be throwing our Tusk Speakers and our Ruthless Raiders in the face of birds. And it's going to come down a lot to how we manage our Spirits Unleashed. So we'll see what he adds to the board. I don't really think we're going to want to play it on turn 3, especially now that the Boom Baboon has made its way around. But that's what we're going to be looking towards, is we want him to, fill up his board with just a bunch of Garbos, and then we can clean up a bunch of it with our Spirits Unleashed. The big key here is going to be if he has Lulu or not. Currently looks like not. Oh, this is nice. What are you doing, fam? Okay, all day, every day. Why would he... Like, the typical attack you make is you hook in the bird. So as you have a 2-1 and a 3-2 behind, if I want to block either of them, I have to use the Ruthless Raider. And then the bird doesn't kill the Flame Chompers, so you get to use it on a future turn. But now we're getting to kind of develop this round to where we got the 1 damage on the Boom Baboon, and now we're going to drop a Spirits Unleashed, smoke everything out here. See if we get an insta-concede here. I'm not opposed to that. This is where we need the Laser Kitty emote, man. This is a pain point not having it. Getting the 5-for-1 on his units and growing our dudes for the rest of the game. Give me some of that Laser Kitty emote. But you got something coming in. This is going to be like a Mystic Shot. I don't care about this. Boom. Now, don't feel like this automatically wins the game. The Jinx deck does throw down some ridiculous stuff. And so, very real chance we can get upset by a Jinx or something. But as it stands right now, I'm fine to just start punching in the Overwhelms. hopefully we can win the game on our next attack token.
There's nothing a good giggle can't fix.
Nothing a good giggle can't fix. Alright, are we going to get chomped here? Discards Pokey Stick, picks up 2 Poros, okay. It's like he's just going to be bringing in the Darings. I'm going to keep passing until he attacks. Like, I feel like if we just sends it back to our turn, then that's a good bonus. We have the Bone Clubs in hand. I'm ready for that. I felt like this was just saying, like, okay, I got to come at you with the Elusives. And so this is fine. I didn't want to add... Well, I guess we could have added the Ruin Runner. I was ultimately worried about the Ruin Runner just getting killed by a Flame Chompers. But I guess that wasn't really a necessity.
Don't want to die? Don't do terrible things.
Maybe we should have just played the Yeti and attacked. It's like it gives him the opportunity to play 2 slows instead of 1. Like, we're not really in a value space here, but the action can soak up a block. Okay. Where are we at? 15 damage. So if he plays Jinx, we still win. Need to deal 10. Jinx is going to be 4 health, 1 blocker from a Daring Poro. Should be enough to get us there. Got him. GG. Marked W for bust. I don't know if you all visited it recently, but if you visit ftpbust.com, it has the rankings for the best player in the world. I'm right up there at the top. FTP Bust, ranked number 1 on ftpbust.com. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to get there on your own, but you know, I pulled it off. There's a lot of value in that. If you want to perhaps go out and just register your own domain, it turns out you can just put whatever you want on the internet. And so, you know, if you're just out there like tweeting that you're the best in the world, it doesn't have like the same weight to it as you having your own website. And so there's just a little bit more credibility to ftpbust.com than there is some rando's tweet. So clearly the best in the world. Alright, let's see what we can do here, though. This hand's a little slow against pirates, and we do have to do a bit of self-damage with our Tusk Speakers, but if we can roll into the next turn and get a Troll Chant 2-for-1, I'll feel a little bit better about life. Taking 4 damage sucks if he opens, but usually them opening is just like way better for us than him adding units to the board. See, another space where Spirits Within would be pretty choice. You're just a little bit too slow in this one. Alright, so we keep our Raider around. We only take 1 extra damage that way, assuming that we just didn't trade the Raider with something and then prevent 2 elsewhere. So that feels okay. Action's decent. We can at least attack with him. It seems a little better than adding the Yeti. We can still add Yeti next turn. Hopefully we can shut down these boards. It's just like they have so many cards in hand. We can't like attack and just trade. He's going to completely refill his board. We have to be able to block some of this stuff. Like, if we attack and trade, he's happy with that, and then he just plays like 2 or 3 units and we can't refill our board. We're not really happy about blocking with our guys at this point, but it's just a disaster if we send them into combat here. Alright, so we can add 2 dudes if we want. That's not quite enough. That'll take us to 5. I think that's where we got to stop. Maybe we could have kept 1 guy back. Should have done a little bit of math, I guess. If we have like 6, 11, 14, getting up to 17 is not going to be enough. We maybe should have just thrown the Ruthless Raider on the board. Because now we are starting to get to the point to where we have like bigger blockers. It's like we're just dead. GG. Tough stuff. It's always been a tough match. Got to get those spirits within if you want to win that one. All right, GG. On to the next one. The final battle, battle number 8, coming at you. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic one. I need to change my icon. I can still use. I still use the astute academic icon. I use that one since the beta and never changed it. I like it. This now that I'm seeing this Poro in here, I'm not feeling it. I don't like it. Maybe we'll remember to do that before the next video starts up. Okay, so we go. This is Braum Yumi. Gonna OTK us with the 1 super unit. I mean, sure. So this is kind of a more classic-y action style draw. I don't really like it in this format, and but maybe we're just kind of stuck with it. You know, this would be something that, like, in times of old, you'd be really hype about it. Getting to drop action on 2, loading them up to 3 attack if you need it, and then your opponent can't block. You go into the next turn, you get to drop the Merciless Hunter hooks into their best unit. And now, I don't know. I just see these cards and I'm just kind of like, like I am not thrilled about the quality of these plays. How the times change and the turns table, you know? All right, what you got for us, my duder? You gonna drop a Yumi onto the Vulpine Wanderer? Nope. Just boosting some friends in your hand. That's a little scary. Like, I feel like we probably just need to open attack next turn, but I mean, maybe we are to this point to where we just need to, like, crash in the damage. Like, if he, say, puts, like, what would he even be, like, Purifying Flames onto Yumi and then putting Yumi onto a unit? Is that a thing? I mean, it gives it, like, +5/+5 or something. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem super appealing. Alright, do we want any of this stuff? I'm looking at the Darkened Bloodletters just as a Zolani at this point, and so we can look to, like, this turn exhaust Braum out of combat, and then next turn play the Yeti, and then 2 turns from now play the Zolani. I think that's okay. We even get extra damage in this way, so hopefully it's enough. This Braum is tough to attack through. Trying to think of the way that, like, we can take the Poro off the board. So we have this additional action in hand, and we need him to do something. Whether or not that's just trade or pick up a target for a grappling hook. It's tough. I mean, I guess you can, like, cycle the targets on him, but oh, that works easy enough, right? I mean, if we just take the trade. So here, this is a very suspicious attack with the Mighty Poro. The question is going to be, can we fill out our board before this thing happens? And I think this all works out okay, right? So action's going to strike. Our palace is going to go to 2. We'll play another action. That'll take it to 1. And then on the following turn, it'll just naturally flip. We'll get the Warlord's Palace, and then we can just play Zolani after. Dark Enthrall, you're in the way.
I do not break rules, I bend them slightly.
That didn't work out entirely right. Uh-oh. Oh, she's going to be big next turn. That's not good. Yeah, we have to just stop there. Getting these old 5/5 lifesteals on the board, I don't feel like we can really deal with that. This is not a board we're good to just slam stats on. We did pick up Troll Chant though. Let's see.
We have waited so long.
So Zolani comes in. This is going to tend to like, do we need the +1 attack? We don't have any hooks for this turn. We really need to hook the Mahiri way out to the right. It's like even if she's like says, okay, I want to come in and block Merciless Hunter. That's such a brutal go for us. It's a 9-point life swing. But do we ever win the game by hooking her out of combat, right? So say we Relic of Power, pick up a vulnerable thing, then vulnerable her out of combat. He still gets to block Zolani and block Akshan. Yeah, I think we need to find like Spirits Unleashed, or we need to find a Tellstones. Rite of Negation technically works, but we don't have the mana to do it. So we attack, he blocks. Yeah, this game's just done. All right, GG. Okay, and so not a bad set of games. It does bring up some interesting questions and some interesting spaces, so we can stop and talk about it a little bit more. And so the main reason I wanted to kind of look at something like this is as seasonals starts to approach, and you say, okay, like what's my lineup going to look like? And I'm pretty intent on playing like Noxus Leona. Given that I've just played so many games in the past few days, I like the deck. It may not be the prime spot for it in terms of a tournament, but it's the deck I'm like the most familiar with, and I still think it's pretty has a place to be pretty successful. And so then after that, you say, okay, well, do I want to play something like Gangplank Sejuani? I really like the idea of having the overwhelms, the way that Sejuani functions in this meta of kind of a very board centric collection of dudes, and being able to get those full board Frostbites is quite good, and you're still carrying this overwhelm plan like we did here. But then what do you look towards your third deck? And it's like, do you really want to play Bone Club Darius? Like, maybe. Do you want to play Pirates? Probably not. This is not a good Pirates meta. You can look to play something like Lulu Jinx, but I feel like that's something that's like pretty heavily meted upon, and it's not something that I'd like be excited about to take into a tournament like seasonals. And so that's where you can kind of like open yourself up to a space like Akshan or Renekton, is to like, well, I do like Spirits Unleashed, and I do like Ruin Runner. Does this help us assemble a nice and cohesive deck? And so I think there might be something here, but the things I don't like about this, or I don't like Akshan. The Dark and Bloodletters are okay, and it's just like the early game feels like so close to being right, but not quite there. And so I just don't feel like there's like a good champion mix that fits into this nicely. It's like Renekton is very like meh. Akshan is very meh in this format today, especially with the amount of quietus going around. I'm not really excited about that, but I am like super excited to play cards like Spirits Unleashed, and super excited to play cards like Ruin Runner. And so, you know, there might be something here. It should take a little bit more like iteration on to kind of figure out, but I just like the Raiders, the Tusk Speakers, the Ancient Yetis, the Ruin Runners, along with Spirits Unleashed and Battle Fury. There's definitely something there. And so it feels like this is like 75% of what we want, and we just got to figure out how to kind of like pick and choose how to get this into that right space. And I think the first place to look are these champions. Just, I don't know, I just didn't like Akshan. He doesn't function in the current meta, and Renekton is just too meh. And that lets us kind of move away from things like Exhaust and Shuriim and Tellstones, and maybe find some better units from that space. Because like realistically, if you're wanting to play Renekton, you can also just play like Void Blaster, whatever the evolve overwhelm unit is, and you still have like essentially the same collection of cards. And so I'll keep at it. I'll keep looking at it. I think there might be something here, but this exact iteration of cards I wasn't super happy with outside of the stuff we called out, the 2-drop overwhelms, the Yeti, the Ruin Runner, and the Spirits Unleashed. And so I'll keep at it. You can too, but it's not going to be right now, because that's going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bustin' Me. Thank you for being here.